Hey Ian, how are you? I'm just getting started. It's been quite a morning. Hey Kathy. Alrighty. So first things first, we are going to get started with the iPad first. And as usual, I'm watching my broadcast on my iPad while my desktop is doing the actual broadcasting. I have a HD webcam on a long cable so I can move it over to my art table. Anyway, so I'm going to click on the display. I'm going to click on the three dots, click on quality, click on the highest resolution it'll let me. That'll give me the best picture I can get so that I can keep an eye on what everything looks like. And we'll set this off to the side so I can look at the chat. Then we're going to cover our hands with some Art Guard. I woke up this morning to ants in my kitchen. Like, seriously. Yeah. I think all of Santa Clara County is built on a giant anthill. Drives me crazy. So that's how my day started. Hey, Tommy girl, how are you? So needless to say, I'm on my third cup of coffee because I just feel like after battling ants in my kitchen this morning and cleaning my kitchen and then having to do laundry and everything that goes along with that, yeah, I needed to have another cup of coffee. All right. So we are going to use the Daniel Smith watercolors today, and I'm going to activate them with some water that has Oxgall liquid in it, which is from Winsor. Whoop. The one I have is from Winsor Newton. Let's try not to get the inspiration photos like all wet. We're going to move them. We're going to put the brushes over here. All right. So instead of spraying it, I really liked how the paint's reactivated by putting some in with a dropper. Also, if you are more careful about how you put your paints in your metal watercolor box, and you don't have to worry so much about the box maybe rusting. Now, I will say it's not the box that rusts, it's this tray that holds the watercolors in, because it's not enameled on the back side, which is kind of dumb. No, yeah, although we do have flying termites in Santa Clara County, and my parents' old house, when they lived here, we had that in our garage, which was disgusting. I went out there one day to get something out of the freezer, and every single surface was covered in termites. It was gross because they were migrating. But yeah, still wasn't a great thing to wake up to first thing this morning. And I should have done this before I went live, but you know, my morning has been unexpectedly busy. And I know I say that a lot, but today I really mean it. You know, this whole ant thing, termite. Now you got me saying termites, Ian. Yeah, this is a great way to activate the paints and also ensure that you're not wasting, you know, your water everywhere, and that you're not, you know, taking any extra chances on the box rusting. Now, I will tell you that I do lift up the tray. This is the most used box I have, so I do lift up the tray every now and then, clean underneath it. If there is any rust under there, I clean it off. I do have a piece of plastic wrap between the tray that holds the paints and the bottom of the box. The inside of the box is enameled, so I worry less about that rusting through than I do the tray. But now that I know about Jackson's Art, and I know a cheap place to get these boxes, should I have one that just really gets, you know, really past it and really rusty, I can just buy a new one. Yeah, less damage to the brushes too. I agree with that. And I'm good. It's just been a crazy morning, Tommy girl. We're using Daniel Smith. I edited the title of the broadcast to reflect that. Daniel Smith is my preferred paint. I really like their color range. I like the way the paints granulate. I like the fact that they're really easy for me to get because they're local to my area. So we're gonna do a cherry tree. I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but we'll find out. I need a pencil. That'll work. Hey, Lisa. Both Lisas. Lisa O and Lisa... Oh, did I see? Yeah, and Lisa S. And Eve, hey. All right, so we have all of these pictures that we need to thank Mr. Ian for sending to me all of these fun inspiration photos of cherry trees and some of Japanese gardens with, I think that's a Japanese maple, but that's really great inspiration. So we're going to use one or more of these pictures to create our painting today. And I think our main composition is going to be from this one, but we're going to change the maple tree to a cherry tree. Sorry. All right, so I'm going to set my pictures up, propped up against the cabinets. I have these really great photos of cherry blossoms that he also sent me. I'm going to put one of them in front and set it up off camera. There we go. So I have some good inspiration. I like cooking, but it's really hard for me to stay focused. You know, I love cooking and I'm not a bad cook, but you know, I get distracted, the phone rings or something like that, and then I burn everything. It's just, you know, squirrel. I'm okay. All right, so I got Happy Mail recently, which I loved, and I appreciate all of your guys' Happy Mail. This particular Happy Mail had this really interesting brush in it by Rosemary and Company, and it's a triangular brush with a fabulous tip. And I mean, you can see it's still got all the sizing in it. So we're going to try it this morning. We're going to get all of the brushes wet. And our paints are getting nice and juicy. Now, this is just an empty medicine dropper bottle. You can get these from American Science and Surplus. And I usually have quite a few of them around. And it is a great thing to put your watercolor water in with the Oxgall liquid in it. And then you can just use the dropper to put the water in the pans. If you have little kids around, save one of their empty medicine bottles and wash it out and use that. My daughter's 22. I don't have little kids around anymore. Just do yourself a favor, though, and what I'll do as soon as I'm off camera is label it, because I forget what's in here. I'm sort of, can you be a half a vegetarian? Because I do eat quite a few vegetarian meals, at least when I'm home. So my family makes fun of my fake chicken. So I'm going to first, I like this picture here, which I don't know, I'm going to move everything down just a little bit. Let's see if you can see it on camera. I'm okay, Gail, how are you? Battling ants in my kitchen this morning. But, you know, I'm on coffee cup number 3. The secret project is done and out of my hands. And there'll be an announcement about it this weekend. So there we go. So you can see most of the picture up here. So we're going to just like do a quick pencil sketch of the, I like the little bridge in this photo. And the movement of the tree. Yeah, there was we had a little tremor this morning. I don't think it was very strong, but I was, you know, finally had the ants all cleaned up, and I was sitting drinking my coffee, and the house felt like a truck ran into it. So, yeah, but you know, it was fine. I'm a California native, so I don't, they happen. It's nothing you can do about it. Oh, that's a good, I'm reading back on the comments. So that's a good tip. Sometimes you can buy these empty bottles at the pharmacy or the drugstore. So you might want to ask. And semi-vegan. Okay, so I'm semi-vegetarian. I would never be vegan. I like cheese too much, to be really honest. I could not do that. I could probably give up eggs, but I can't give up cheese. Unless it's going to kill, well, we won't go there. I can't give up cheese. I don't eat it as much of it as I used to. I do have high cholesterol, but and they do. I looked them, the Rosemary and Company people up, and they seem to have a really good range of brushes. And in your bedroom, see, at least they were in my kitchen. I'd rather have them in the kitchen than in the bedroom. Holy cow. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Eve. It's not frozen for me, so I don't know if anybody else is having trouble. I'm getting the page wet. These dropper bottles are really handy. I also have one that has alcohol in it that you've probably seen me use on camera. They are really handy in the art room. So I'm using my really big Princeton Neptune brush, really big, giant, round. I don't think that's what it's called. It's a quill brush. It's a number 8 quill. Yeah, we sometimes get them in the bathroom, which is another strange place to have ants. I'm going to use, oh, my thing is upside down. All right, let's turn it that way. So I'm going to use the Sleeping Beauty turquoise, which is a light blue color. I like hummus. We're going to start talking about food. Y'all are going to make me hungry. Oh, I love Opera Rose. It's a good color. Okay, and then I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. And I'm going to put my, okay. So let's see. I want to go with one of my greens. I'm going to keep it light for the moment. We're going to go with green gold. And I'm going to just try to grab just a little bit. Yeah, maybe you need to send me that Pinterest recipe. I know when we were putting the new refrigerator in, because, you know, like I said before, you know, we live in Santa Clara County, and this is old farm community. In fact, where my house sits used to be an apple orchard years and years ago. And I think that means we just have tons and tons of, you know, ants and creatures. And so anyway, I, you know, had a habit, especially when I had daycare, of getting a bunch of, you know, the little ant traps and putting them way back underneath, you know, the stove and underneath the fridge, where, of course, where the kids couldn't get them, but that they would be under there, and, you know, the ants would hopefully take the bait and not come back. Anyway, when we moved the paint, I mean the refrigerator and stove to clean underneath, and when the new one was coming, we found so many of the little traps. I was like, oh man, we haven't done this since I got hurt at work. This is not good. Okay, let's see. The light is strong on the paper. Oh, it is? Okay, well, let's see. Let's turn it a little bit. Or maybe, let's see. And I can also zoom in a bit. Hang on. Yes, Gail, I didn't get gifted these. I bought these, and I bought them like 2 or 3 tubes at a time until I built up my palette. And this was before I discovered Jackson's art, and I bought the empty box from Schminke. But now I know about Jackson's art, and they sell these metal watercolor boxes, which I love, and I won't stop using, despite the fact that they sometimes have a rusting issue. I would just buy a new box. But yeah, no, I bought, this was not one that was given to me, if that's what you're asking. Okay, thanks, Gail. I hope that helps a little bit on the light. It is a very light painting. I haven't put a lot of color on here yet, and I can actually zoom in a little bit more. Let's see. I don't know. Let's play with the lights for a minute. Hang on a second. Let me turn off, let's see. Is that better? Let's see. I turned off one of the lights. You guys tell me if that's better. Give it a second, because I turned off all the lights at first and then it was really dark. Yes, better. Oh, okay, good. So we just have some light green and some light blue on here. And then I want to dry this. My old dog who passed away, he used to like to eat bumblebees and honeybees. He was a weird dog. Oh, and spiders. Yeah, these are 15 mil tubes, but you definitely can get their sets of paint in 5 mil tubes. I didn't know that when I first started buying my Daniel Smith paints. So, and I do recommend most of the time going to the website because they have the best selection of their own products. But if you have a local art supply store that carries Daniel Smith, go there, especially when they're having a sale. Okay. Alrighty. So we've got our some different kind of brushes here. We've got Princeton Neptune. I've got an Escada brush. I've got the Rosemary brush. We're going to try this one. I really am intrigued by this brush. Okay, so now we're going to go in with Opera Pink, I think, which is a really nice bright pink, but it's not light fast. So you're going to get a shadow over here of my arm because I turned off a light. So, but that's not on the painting, so I think that'll be all right. Okay, so I'm going to go in with Opera Pink. Now remember that I am not a realist painter by any stretch. I don't sit and draw, you know, generally draw unless I'm doing a close-up or paint, you know, each individual, you know, petal on the cherry trees and things like that. I'm so all over the place this morning, you guys. So I want to put a light, like a suggestion of some of these cherry blossoms in before we put any of the like branches or anything in, which we might do with pen. And I got to say, I'm liking the interesting marks I'm getting with this triangular brush. I'm just tapping it on. Yeah, so I would try your local art supply for sure. And if there's colors that you want from the Daniel Smith line, or any line really that they don't have, a lot of these places will order it for you. So ask them, because they will probably order it for you. Now remember, this is, I want to do like it's like a little, like a pond or a river. So, you know, whatever's above the water is going to be reflected in the water, right? Oh, that's a good idea, Ian. You would think that they would enamel the whole inside of the box and the bottom of the tray, because that's like every single one I own, I think, including the Prima. This is a Prima one. I think all of them, the issue is not the inside of the box because they're all enameled. It's the bottom of the tray that holds the paint in. They're all bare stainless steel. So what I would tell you guys is, if you get one of these, before you put any paint in it, take the box and take this piece out and spray the bottom of it with some enamel, which I'm going to have to go back and do with some of my boxes now. This brush, you get such a fine point on it. I am liking this brush. Daniel Smith should be on my Amazon, yes. And this is a Rosemary and Company Triangular Brush Series 40. And it was sent to me in Happy Mail recently. And I am loving it. Absolutely loving it. I don't remember right now because I've had kind of a bad morning, and I've taken a lot of asthma medicine the last 2 days because of the fires in California. So I don't remember who sent it to me, but without looking it up. But I love it. So far we've used green gold, opera pink, and Sleeping Beauty turquoise. For those of you who are keeping track. Okay, so now I'm going to start to suggest the tree branches, and I'm going to use What color am I going to use? I have this color called Tiger's Eye that would be a good light tone. I know you're looking at that going, light tone? But yeah, you have to trust me. So I'm going to just start at the base, and then I'm going to push down hard. I'm kind of twisting my brush as I'm going up and following my pencil line. I'm also lifting the brush up. Okay, we'll do that again. I'm going to start at the base of my pencil line. I'm going to push down, and as I'm following the pencil line, I am twisting the brush and I'm also lifting it up. There we go. I'm going to go to the base and I'm going to get it wet down here. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and look at the bottom of my boxes, and I'm going to have to clean them all. And I think Ian's got a really great idea, and it's a pain when you have as many as I do, but I think it's totally worth it to pull the tray out, clean your box off, and then spray the whole thing with some enamel. That's going to be hard for me because I can't really, spray paint makes me wheeze. I used to love to use spray paint in my art, but it makes me wheeze. So I'm going to have to see if I can get my husband to do 1 or 2 boxes at a time or something. The green gold is a beautiful color, and it's one of the first ones I bought because it reminded me of the Golden's green gold, acrylic green gold. And I love that color. I don't know who doesn't love that color. So I really wanted it for that. Now I'm going to, just with the very tip of this brush, barely touch the paper. So I'm going to switch to, I do have a little tiny brush here, which is another Escoda brush. This is a #1 round. And we're going to stay with the same color for the moment. And I'm going to put a few more branches in. You don't need to, you know, draw every branch, but, and the fact that I've had extra coffee today is probably good for drawing branches because my hands are shaky. And but you want to twist the brush, and you know, you want to barely touch it to the canvas. No digging. Well, I used to tell this to all my painting students at Michael's, no digging any holes to china. So it's not the little plastic pans that gets rusty, it's the actual tray that holds the pans in the box. The empty plastic pans are not expensive. This box holds 48. I actually have squeezed 52 in here. If you want to match, you know, if you want a big selection like this. But I think 25 is good to start. Yeah, the triangle brushes are not super expensive. I have some Raphael brushes that are a lot more expensive, but I got to tell you, I like it already. All right, I'm supposed to be painting, aren't I? We're discussing brushes. Holy cow. I'm going to go back to that triangular brush for a minute. And I'm going to put some shadows in under our bridge. There's some shadows under here. Yes, I am talking. Is anybody else having problems with the sound? I guess if you can answer that question, the answer is no. Yeah. There's Red Cross again. They want my blood. Hey, Teresa. Can you guys hear them in the background? I don't know if you guys can hear that. Red Cross is calling the house phone, which is unplugged except for the one phone, and there's an answer machine on it. Yeah, anyway. There's a reason for that, because only people that call are like Red Cross. They want my blood because I'm B positive, which means they always need my blood type. Okay, that's not a bad start. I'm kind of liking this painting. We're gonna go back to a smaller brush. This is one of my favorite watercolor brushes. I think it might surprise you. This is a generic store brand Utrecht brush. This is a round number 6. The number on it is 6150R. And I bought this when I was in Las Vegas with the girls for our little art retreat. And I love this brush. Hi, Miko. How are you? Hi, Teresa. Hi, Kathy. Hi, everybody. Okay, so we've been using Tiger's Eye, which is one of the Daniel Smith colors, for the branches. I'm going to go in now with some sepia, which is a lot darker brown. And I'm going to put a little bit of it on there. And then I'm going to get some of it wet. So it kind of goes where it may and suggests some shadows for us. Okay. You can also, do more branches with the darker color. And your lines don't have to be, equal, even. They should be crooked. They should be broken, because theoretically you would have, branches of cherry blossoms. You would have blossoms on top of some of the branches, right? So well, that's good. I wish, I've never had a boss like that. That would have been really nice to have a boss like that. He gets bonus points with me. And I haven't practiced this painting. I haven't planned it out. You guys are seeing it as I'm painting it. I have not planned any of this out, just FYI. Oh, Ian, that's a good idea. My husband might have some of that, since he makes models and miniatures. We might already have some of that. That's a good idea. And I think I'll probably just go through and do the boxes that are already having an issue first, like the Daniel Smith box, the ones that I use the most. And then I'll go through and look at the others when I have a chance. Okay. Now, it should be about the cherry blossoms, right? So let's go in and put a little bit more detail on our blossoms. We're going to go in and use rhodonite, which is a little bit more of a dull a duller pink. It's not as bright and like fluorescent, but it's still pink. One of the colors I hate mixing is pink. And I'm just tapping the brush onto the page. If you look at some of the pictures of cherry blossoms that you can find on the internet, go to Paint My Photo, first of all. They have some really great pictures. And if you type in cherry tree, you're going to get like literally thousands of hits. You know what, Eve? I don't even know. I'd have to actually get the tubes out because I didn't mark that. You can actually find a copy of the color key for this palette on my website on the Watercolor Wednesday page. And any of you who are, you know, watching the broadcast, if you want, you can go look at that. Maybe you can figure out how many Primatex are on palette. I don't have any idea without looking at the tubes. My favorite are Daniel Smith. They're easy to get. They're made in the USA. They have a huge range of colors, some of which you can't get from other manufacturers. I love them. Bonus, their store and factory is up in Seattle, Washington, near my parents. But trying to get my parents to find it and drive me there is I got to film that for you guys next time. That was hilarious. That was so funny. My dad kept making the wrong turn and my mom was getting annoyed with him. I think he was doing it on purpose because I think he thought it was funny. So I'm going back in with some of these darker pink dots and I'm just getting them wet because I want to be suggestive about this. I want to suggest, you know, a park with cherry blossom trees blooming. And some of these dots are going to blend and some are not because, you know, I've let it dry for a little bit, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm going to let it happen the way it will. My parents they're funny. They're a funny couple. Let's see. I should be looking at the picture for, you know, suggestions and where to put stuff. Let's see. Somebody want to explain that? It's a particular range of colors that they have. Don't worry about it. If you're going to start collecting any paints, Daniel Smith or otherwise, just get the colors that you love. If you're concerned about your work being archival, then look at the light fastness. Daniel Smith has some colors that are made from unique sources and unique colors that nobody else has, and that's one of the things I like about them. Actual ground stones, exactly. So I do have Tiger's Eye, Minnesota Pipestone, I think might be another one. Let's see. I'm gonna just go down the thing here. I don't think Rhodonite is one, but it might be. Potter's Pink might be. Fuchsite is. Bloodstone is. Moonglow might be. Kyanite is. I think Lunar Blue might be. Solidite is. Sleeping Beauty Turquoise I think is. That's all I can think of right now. You'd have to look again. I'd have to go. Yeah, I'd have to go look at my tubes because I don't remember. And I'm not having a great morning. You know, when you wake up and before you even have coffee, you have to deal with ants. Yeah, it's just not going to be a good day. It's just not. All right, so I'm going to come in with some sap green. which is still a yellowy green, but it's darker than the green we first started with. And I am using the Japanese maple picture as inspiration, although I am changing the maple tree into a cherry tree. Just FYI, in case anybody wonders what I'm doing, because you missed the first part of the broadcast. Ian sent me some pictures, and we are using them as inspiration. Moonglow isn't. Okay, Potter's Pink. Okay. I think the Solidite is. I think the Kyanite is. The Fuchsite, I think, might be. I also have Hematite Violet, Bloodstone. Honestly, I just pick them because they have the colors that I want, to be really honest about it. There are a few of the Primatech colors, though, that I really like. Yeah, those, I have all those. That's too big a brush. Yeah, so Ian sent me some gorgeous pictures. He's been really great for inspiration photos, and he's been putting some inspiration photos in the Facebook group too. So you know, if you guys need, we have a photo album in the Facebook group that is shareable pictures. So if you guys need inspiration photos and you're getting sick of looking all over the internet, go to the Facebook group and go look there. It is, isn't it? Let's see. So I'm going to take a little bit of the tiger's eye and the sepia that's in here. And I'm going to add a little bit of Chinese white to it. And we're going to try to bring out the bridge by painting around the bridge. So painting in between the little spindles and adding a shadow. You know, the whole YouTube thing happened by accident. I was taking a class from Pauline Agnew, and this was just before I got hurt at work with American Greetings. And she had a part of her class, which is so funny looking back on it, because the lesson in the class was, thank you, Ian. So the lesson in the class was to do a jelly print, a monoprint. And I had no idea what a monoprint was. I didn't know what a jelly plate was. I said, what? How can you print with jelly? Like, seriously, that's what I said to myself. I had no idea what they were talking about. And after Googling it, I thought, well, I don't have that, and I can't really afford that. So how can I do this lesson? Because I really want to try this. So I just used a sheet of acrylic and came up with kind of my own way of doing things that she was kind of intrigued by, and said, can you show me how you did that? And I thought, okay. So I couldn't figure out how to get video up anywhere except YouTube. I didn't have a great camera. In fact, I think I either filmed it with my old iPhone 4 or with my iPad. I don't remember. And it is still up on my channel. It's the first video that I ever put up. And yeah, so that's how it started. And I got that one video up, and then I just kept putting, then I got hurt in American Greetings and I had nothing else to do, so I kept putting videos up. So it's all Pauline's fault. The whole channel is Pauline's fault. The whole thing. I do like Quar watercolors, and I have them in my mixed palette. They are super vibrant. They came out after I started collecting paints, but of course, you know, I have them and I love them. Yeah, that's probably what he means, Teresa. So yeah, the whole idea of me doing YouTube at all is Pauline's fault. And watercoloring on here, you know, when they started allowing us to do live broadcasts, well, the obvious one for me was to do a watercolor because I watercolor all the time. So I just thought that was kind of an easy no-brainer. So like any other time I watercolor, I'm going to, I've started out light, and I'm going to slowly make my colors darker and continue to add interesting marks that suggest the shapes that I want in my painting until I have something that I really like. Exactly. So everybody give Pauline a thanks. And if you want to learn more about fine art painting techniques and mixed media painting, I really can't recommend a paid-for class enough than anything by Pauline Agnew. She's a wonderful teacher, and she's got the patience of a saint. And I did not know anything about figure drawing or faces or anything until I started taking classes from her. So I would definitely recommend her. The triangle brush is, as I'm using it on this painting more and more. It's my favorite. I really like it. I can see me ordering another one. I think they had them in 2 sizes. But yeah, I'm really liking this brush a lot. Not only do you have a nice flat, it really flattens out well to do a wash, but it comes to this beautiful point that's just, it's a wonderful brush. Alrighty. I'm looking at our painting on the camera. I have one it's flat, and it's called a sword brush, and it has a similar shape. This one actually is some kind of cross between a round and a flat. It's actually, the tip is, the ferrule is shaped into a triangle. You get the advantages of using a round brush with also having this sharp point at the end. It's a very handy brush. You can do a lot with this just one size of brush. I know you asked Ian, but you know, I'll answer your question. So I'm gonna, I have this other color that's more purpley that's called Rose of Ultramarine. And I'm just tapping this with the tip of this brush, just the tip. It has a really great point to it, this brush. I love it. And don't forget, when you're doing watercolor, part of your painting is process is probably at some point going to be lifting, otherwise known to us mixed media artists as blotting. And if you're using good paints and you get colors where you don't like it, you probably can get that area wet and then come in with your rag or your towel, and you can probably, like I just did, lift some of that up. You also can, you know, use marks you don't like as an opportunity to put something on top of it. So nothing is ever a mistake. That doesn't mean you have to live with where the paint landed, but that, you know, maybe you need to change things up and put something else on top of that. I like working with watercolor because they're transparent. I can see that original mark that maybe I wasn't too crazy about, but I can make it less obvious by putting something on top of it, like I just did. No, this one is not expensive. It was $11 and like 6 cents or something. Ian went to the website and priced it out earlier. This is by Rosemary and Company, and this is a triangular series 40 brush. They make a lot of different specialty brushes at this company. Yeah, I was pretty impressed. I can see me actually ordering more brushes. I've got to finish the secret project first and then get that done, and then I can see me ordering some more brushes from them. So remember, this is like a nature painting, so you don't want anything perfect and even. Nature's not perfect and even. Nature is wild and crazy and all over the place. It does, really. It does look like chalk pastels. This is a fun painting, and it's probably not going to be too dark because of the nature of the painting, but I'm liking it a lot. And we'll get, I can only stay on until about 11, but we will get as far as we get with it, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to go back to the opera pink. And we're not really going to water it down at all now. And I'm tapping, again, I'm still using that triangular brush, and I'm tapping it on the paper. Yeah, the green gold is my favorite green from Daniel Smith. It's my favorite green. Green gold and sap green were the first two greens I bought. There are warm greens, yellowy greens, but I use them the most. It is. It's coming out nicely. Like I said, this is an experiment. Working in a journal like this is fun when you want to, experiment with different compositions, different kind of paints. You can try it in your journal, and if it doesn't turn out, you don't have to be like me and show the entire planet. But it's a great, you know, there's a great sense of freedom to working in something that you can feel just really free to just try before you make something that you're going to maybe sell to customers or, you know, put online somewhere. And this is opera pink. Now, I'm pretty sure this has like little to no light fastness, just FYI for those who are concerned about this. This is a gorgeous color. It is not what you would call light fast in the slightest sense of the word. Yeah, I have one that is $65, and I honestly have trouble using it because it was so expensive. Like, I don't want to ruin it. At some point, I guess I'll get over that because you should use what you have, but I don't know what the hell I was thinking buying that brush. And pardon my foul language for those of you who are offended by that sort of thing. Those that know me in real life and not on social media know that I tend to have a foul mouth sometimes. So. Now you want to be careful about mixing your pink with the wet green too much. You're going to get a muddy brown color, and that may not be what you want. You may not be willing to live with that. So you want to be careful with that. Hi, Patricia. Yeah, ask any of the girls I went to Las Vegas with. They'll tell you. Ask Cindy Utter or Michelle or Anne. I'll ask my husband. He and I have been together for over 30 years, so I don't think there's anything I could do that would surprise him too much. So you really want to start out a painting like this by doing your blue wash in the background and getting your background sky color to be something that you can live with, because as you can see, if you wanted to go back now and touch up that sky, it'd be really almost impossible to do. We do need to work on the bridge a little bit before we call it a day. So I'm going to switch to a little small round brush, and I'm going to use, what color am I going to use? I think I'm going to use the Raw Umber Violet, and I'm going to just put it right here. It's like a purpley brown color. And I'm switched to my smallest brush, which is the Escoda #1. And let's work a little bit on bringing out our bridge some more. I'm going to put my rag right here. And I'm actually going to zoom in so you can see what I am doing. I'm going to zoom in as much as I can anyway. And I'm going to grab my reading glasses because suddenly my eyes don't want to focus. The joys of getting old. Okay. So again, just like before, I'm painting kind of around the bridge, which, painting around an object in watercolor and leaving things white is not something I'm always really great at, but thank God I'm a mixed media artist, so I can just go back in there with white paint if I need to, which I've occasionally needed to. Yet we're already starving artists because, you know, art in general doesn't really, you know, if you want to make a living out of it, it's really difficult, as you all probably know. So that means that, you know, we can't really afford to spend that kind of money on a paintbrush. You literally have to be Bob Ross. Yeah, there are no rules. I mean, I could go back in here with white paint and just, you know, be crazy with this brown paint. But there is something to be said for the challenge of, you know, trying to paint around the subject and bring it out. If you're a Jean Haynes fan like I am, she would not be as controlled about this as I'm being. I really like the way the cherry trees look, so I'm trying not to touch them at all. But the bridge needs help. So that's probably the one part of the painting that's not exactly right. And the fact that this brown is like a violet brown kind of lends itself to, you know, the cherry trees reflecting their, you know, light or their shadow, their pink color onto the bridge. Yeah, I live in San Jose, California, so you would think because I'm like in the heart of Silicon Valley that, you know, we have great internet, but that's not true. Because, you know, I live in the heart of Silicon Valley, so why would I have great internet? I don't always. Sometimes it's fine, sometimes it's not. The bandwidth isn't what it should be. So the tree, of course, is the focal point, but the bridge in this piece is important too. So you really want to spend some time on both. With the tree, you can be more expressive. The bridge is a piece of architecture, so it needs to be a little bit more controlled. But I'm trying not to be too controlled. That is something that I'm constantly fighting with. I do love being more expressive because it doesn't make me as crazy. I do have control issues, and trying to do realistic art makes those control issues just go completely haywire. So that's one of the reasons I don't usually do it. And you know, again, I have control issues and I'm kind of a perfectionist, so yeah, I think I suck at realistic art. And in here with a little bit bigger brush. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Oh, sorry, Heather. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I know there was problems with like all the live feeds. What was it, last week? And over the weekend, a lot of group owners had trouble pinning things. That was a problem too. I don't know. They said they fixed it. Okay, let's see. I think that's pretty good. So my display froze, and yes, this would be a great composition to try a resist technique on. So definitely I would do your, if you're going to do that, do your preliminary sketch, and then where you want your bridge to stay white, use a white crayon, use some masking fluid. If you have a resist pen, like the Ranger one, or a Versamark pen or something like that, you could definitely do that on here. I'm going to take my white Uniball Stigno gel pen, and I'm going to add some of this. And you probably aren't going to be able to see it too much on camera. I need to put my rag because I'm so take your white gel pen and do, you know, little groups of white dots kind of throughout your cherry tree. It will add to the highlights of your blossom, the suggestion of blossoms. You do want to do this on a page that's completely dry. Mine isn't completely. The gel pen doesn't necessarily like to write on wet watercolor paint. And you don't have to cover the whole thing. I mean, you could do as many as you want, but trees are fun because trees are not, you know, they're not perfect. They're very organic and free flowing and you know, crooked, and you know, anybody can do a tree. It is helpful to have an inspiration photo so that you have some kind of an idea for inspiration for not only shape but shadow and light. So I do recommend that, and the little dots just add a little something. Thank you so much, Yasna. Yes, so okay, so first question. So Ian sent me cherry tree pictures since last week, and I printed a bunch of them out, and he's going to put some of them into the shareable inspiration photos file over in my Facebook group. The link for that's in the description. So give him a little bit to get the photos in there, and then go over there and check it out. These are some of the photos that he sent me, and this is the main one we used for inspiration, but this is a maple tree. So he also sent me some cherry tree pictures. So he sent me this one and this one and this one, and I love the shapes of these trees. I liked the one with the bridge in it because it had the bridge in it, so I used that one. And then he sent me some inspiration photos of cherry blossoms. So I used mainly these two. Okay, see you later, Eve. And they will be over in the Facebook group, or some of them. And then, so resistance method. So the resistance method is a method for doing watercolor wherein you would do your preliminary sketch first. Any parts of the page that you know you want to save as white paper, you would put something over that so that the paint doesn't get on there. So you can use a white crayon. Literally, I use a white Crayola crayon. You can use if you have a embossing pen, or a Versamark pen. Let's see, this one is a Versamark pen. This one is a Ranger embossing pen, a clear one. And this one is actually, by recollections, it actually is a resist pen. They're all basically the same thing. And these, you put these on there where you want it to stay white, and then you let it dry, and then you paint over it. And wherever this is going to stay white. Just like wherever the crayon is going to stay white. Now, the other way to do it is to use masking fluid. It looks and smells kind of like rubber cement, and you have to put it on there and let it dry and then paint over it. And then when you're done, you have to rub it off. And whatever is underneath the masking fluid is going to stay white. It's really a challenge to do that in watercolor. I'm not always great at it. I like to just paint and be free with it. I have trouble leaving the white paper. So using a resist is really handy. You also, of course, we're mixed media artists. It means we get to break the rules, and you can go in afterwards and add a white gel pen, add some white acrylic paint, add a white paint pen. So, you know, don't feel like if you haven't been able to leave the white paper that you've messed up your painting. Exactly. You could do this same one, in 4 different colorways to reflect the 4 seasons. And how pretty would they be, not only in your journal, but like hanging up on a wall or something together. I haven't seen that movie, but I like the way this painting turned out. It's not bad for planning it. I mean, literally I woke up this morning and the first thing I had to deal with was ants in my kitchen. So, oh yeah, see, clear birthday candles work. I just have a white Crayola crayon. When I closed my daycare business, I literally took the kids' box of crayons, pulled all the white ones out that they never used anyway, and I still have those crayons. So everybody thank Ian for the inspiration photos. He did a great job finding them. I love our cherry tree. And we're getting a little bit closer to filling up the book. I only have a few pages left. So you guys make sure to send me some suggestions via email or the Facebook group or private message for what you would like to see next week. And help me fill up my book. We've got let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5 pictures left before the book is full. Oh yeah, that works. Probably also if you have an old, what we would call a grease pencil. I used them in the optical business a lot to mark the lenses before I would make your eyeglasses, which it's an oil-based like pencil. That would work. Probably a white oil pastel would work because the oil is going to resist the watercolor paint. So anything like that to preserve the white paper on your painting. Yep, clear crayon, anything like that. You don't have to go out and buy something special. Look around and see what you might already have or what's cheap and easy for you to get and use that. I do have to think that I don't remember this month if I filmed my favorite thing for the month or not, but I think that if I haven't, and I have to look at that later today, it's on my to-do list, I'm going to be saying this Rosemary & Company triangle brush is going to be my favorite thing. Sure, I can do that. In fact, we can do something that's sort of Halloween themed even, since it's going to be October, or at least fall themed. Maybe an ink, watercolor and ink pumpkin or something. You guys send me some photos. We shouldn't just leave it up to Ian every week. You guys should send me some photos of some things that you'd like to see me paint next week. And I will pick one or more and we will work on it. All right, that's it for today, you guys. I've got a meeting in a few minutes, so I've got to clean up. I will see you soon. I will be back on Monday for Monday with DecoArt. And this weekend, keep an eye on my channel and all of my social media because there will be announcements for the brand new design team, announcements for the secret project, and a few other things. We've lost so many talented people recently this year, and yeah, they will all be greatly missed. All right, that's it, everybody. Don't forget the best most important thing. Yeah? Do something nice for yourself because you deserve it, okay? All right. I'll talk to you all later. Bye, guys.